Hey friends, I'm back from India. Green crayon decided to stay a little while longer, but we did find a friend, and orange crayon decided to return with me. So orange crayon is going to help me in the next few lessons navigate us through the rest of our travels. We went to India because we found out about this awesome material called AIR ink. And AIR ink is actually invented by a guy called Anirudh Sharma, and he's 30 years old right now. And AIR ink is made up of composite products by condensing carbon-based gaseous effluents, and this is generated by air pollution. I used a lot of big words. What does that mean? What he did was he was able to capture the gases, the emissions that come out of cars, and he separates the carbon from the emissions and mixes it with a bunch of different oils and different materials, and you use that air pollution to create awesome pieces of artwork. And this particular AIR ink was founded in 2012, and artists like Buff Monster, Christopher H., Di Dixon, they used this AIR ink to create these huge, beautiful murals. And these murals are displayed from London to Hong Kong, Singapore, Berlin, New York. It is totally awesome. And there is enough of AIR ink in one AIR ink pen that is collected from 30 to 50 minutes of pollution. I know, right? So why are we talking about pollution? Well, there's a competition that's coming up, and I would love for you to be able to try because you can win some money out of this. It's called Clean Streets Matter, and they're looking for a poster design that can help promote keeping Macon Bib beautiful. And I'm going to show you how to brainstorm some ideas and come up with your own to create a beautiful poster design. Remember, your poster design should be your own design. It should come from your ideas, not Miss Q's ideas. But if you would like to use a sample of my poster as reference, feel very free to do so. I'll see y'all on the drawing board. Hey friends, today we're going to work on a very special project. It's called Clean Streets Matter, Keep Macon Bib Beautiful. And we're going to start off by brainstorming a few ideas. For the brainstorming part of the activity, we're just going to need some black paper, pencil, an eraser, and I'm going to just use my Sharpie marker or my Sharpie pen. That way you can see the words that I'm writing. So I'm just going to go ahead and clear my board. And for our brainstorming activity, there are a few things that we have to write, or if you are K1 and you prefer to draw or doodle some of these illustrations, then you can do that. That way it helps you kind of help your thought process go through. So we start off by putting the what we know in the middle. And what we know in the middle is the title of our competition, and that's Clean Streets Matter, Keep Macon Bib Beautiful. That's what we do know. We also know that there are a few criteria, and those are the materials and the size stipulations that has been presented. So we want to talk about the size of the paper, and we know that to be 12 by 18 white paper. We also know that the materials they want us to use can include markers, crayons, watercolors, and pastels. You don't have to use all of them. You can just use one or two, or you can just stick to one. So there are a few things we need to know. What colors would we incorporate? We need to figure out what our keywords are, and this is kind of a big deal, so we'll put that in a bubble. Keywords. And then we also want to know, this is targeting towards Macon. Macon is going to be our clients, if we want to call it that. And our clients are going to be the one that we want to sell our idea to. So our client is actually going to be Macon. So we're going to break these up into a little bit more so that we can figure out what we want to incorporate into our drawing. So our keywords here is going to be clean, from clean here. Another keyword is going to be street. And we want to know why. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing a poster that supports Clean Streets Matter? Why? Because there are some feelings that come out of it. And who are the feelings towards? Is it your feelings? Or is it the people that you're looking towards selling your poster to? So we'll just put other people. And let's work on Macon. So let's slide this down a little bit. So Macon. We know Macon is a part of Georgia. What is Macon known for? Let's put known for. Well, they're known for cherry blossoms. We'll put cherry blossoms up here. And they're known for their buildings, lots and lots of buildings. They're also known for their art. They're also known for their music. Let's underline buildings and cherry blossoms. And in our buildings, we can break that up into several other areas. So we know we have the medical center. We have the Fickling building. We have City Hall. We have the Macon Telegraph. We have the Macon Centerplex, Coliseum. We have the Tubman Museum. We have a lot of buildings that Macon is known for. Tubman Museum. And you know what? We'll probably just group them in with what we call a skyline. So you can already start seeing that our page is starting to fill up with lots of great ideas. So we want to go back in and just pick a few that really resonates with you. So I do like the skyline. I do like music. I do like cherry blossoms. And I do like that it is part of Georgia. And so those are going to be our key things that is going to help us design our poster. So I want to come back in here with colors because I haven't figured out that part yet. And we want it to relate to clean streets, and we want it to be a beautification project. And so two colors that really come to mind when we talk about beautification is going to be green and blue. When we use the color green, everything really starts to stand out. So I want to make sure and use green. So I'll put must use green. And then we can just leave everything else to be secondary. Other colors can be used. So I've done a lot of writing in a very short space of time. I'm going to highlight must use green. And now I'm going to try to figure out my ideas, my drawings, all my pictures that I want to incorporate into one poster. So I'm going to go ahead and clear my board. All right, friends, now that we have a few ideas of what we would like to accomplish, we're going to go ahead and start compiling them into our poster. So I'm using a very small sheet of paper. Remember, the size that you must use is a 12 by 18. You can either do 12 inches in height by 18 across, or you can switch your paper up in a portrait mode and do 12 inches across and 18 inches up. It's going to be your choice. I'm going to choose to do it this way. And I'm going to work with a pencil today. I'm going to press a little bit darker so my friends can see my lines. Remember, this is my design. Please don't copy the exact same design I am doing. In fact, I really want you to think about the ideas that you want to input into your own poster design and really make this poster design yours. All right, so at the bottom, I'm going to start off by sketching out the map of Georgia. And then I'm going to radiate from Georgia my message that I want to place over here. So I'm going to go ahead and just lightly sketch out Georgia. I think that's a pretty decent map of Georgia, and I'm just going to make it a little bit darker. I'm going to use my Sharpie marker. And then right in here, Macon is situated right somewhere in the middle. That's why they call us Middle Georgia. Macon's in the middle. So I'm going to put a little heart because I do like how that heart looks. And I'm going to go ahead and create red because this is where my heart is in Macon. And before I outline the heart, I'm just going to do this. And this is going to present the idea that my Macon idea is coming from here and it's radiating onto my page. So my message is going to be placed on the rest of my page. So I'm not going to outline these lines yet. I may want to shorten them, but I will outline my heart. So I have several ideas that I want to use. So I'm going to divide my page into several planes. I divide my page into 3 areas. I'm going to have the foreground, which is going to be the part of the page down at the bottom that is actually going to appear closest to me. I'm going to have a middle ground, which is the third of the page that is in the middle of the paper. And that's going to appear that it's going a little bit further away from me. And then I'll have my background. My background is going to be at the very top of the page. And that's the part of the page that is the part of the drawing that's going to be the furthest away from you. I do want almost like a line of synergy, if you would. So I'm just going to create a curved line here just for now. And down at the bottom, I'm probably going to have a little extra message here. And my middle ground, I do want to create an illusion of Macon here. So I do want to do that. Kind of looks like a little half a circle, if you would. And I'm going to draw in some trees here. And this is the part that's really just going to stand out. And then the background, I'm going to include the Macon skyline. So I'm going to go ahead and start drawing my skyline out. And then I'm going to outline. And the skyline is really just a silhouette, an outline of buildings that you can find in Macon. You know, City Hall, the Macon Telegraph, the Tubman Museum, the Medical Center. These are all part of what we brainstormed about earlier. And I am not using a ruler for this, but if you need to use a ruler, you can certainly use a ruler. Since my plane is actually a little bit what we call a curved line, I'm going to kind of stylize my buildings a little bit more. This one's not quite as tall. This one's going to be the medical center. I'm going to start curving my plane just a little bit. Right about here. Okay, I'm going to outline this because I do like the way that this looks. I'm going to go ahead and fill in my silhouette while I'm working. Remember, silhouette is just a darkened outline of objects. And since my objects are the Macon skyline, I'm just going to create a dark impression of the Macon skyline. Okay, so my skyline is finished. So I'm going to go ahead and work in on the middle ground. And my middle ground, I want to really show a bunch of trees and what would make an environment that is clean more appealing to anybody. And that would be a park, you know, beautiful green trees, clear blue skies. So I'm going to go ahead and add in some trees. So I have one tree, add another tree, and it almost looks like the tree is holding up the city. Because really and truly, when you think about it, if you have a beautiful city like Macon, and Macon is extremely beautiful, then the city can pretty much be beautiful and invite other people to come in. And then this also kind of creates a look that there's that is part of the globe down here too. I'm going to go ahead and outline this part. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and add in my trees while I'm at this. So I'm going to add some darker areas and I'm going to work that in with some light green as well. Let's see. Let's add some darker areas right in between here. Some light green. I'm going to add some crayons in here just for some texture. So I'm just going to add some dark crayon, dark green, just over where my marker was. Just going to add just a little added texture. Add some light green as well. And I want to add maybe some shrubs down at the bottom too. And the shrubs are going to be reversed. So I'm going to have a darker shrub right where that beautiful curved line that I started creating. And this is just going to set the tone for where my ground is. Use my light green over this. If you have yellow, you can use a little bit of yellow, or if you want, you can use a yellow crayon. Let's use a yellow crayon. This is just going to add a little bold hint of color. It's also going to add a little bit of texture to my artwork. Okay, and I want to add in some sky here, and I'm also going to work on the sky up here as well. So I like to use broken crayons. Broken crayons create the most effect in the shortest amount of time. And to do that, I just place my crayon flat down on the paper, and then in a circular motion, I just kind of fill in the space with some color. I do want to place a little more emphasis as it gets closer to the trees, because the sky is going to change just a little bit of color. It's going to appear to be like a darker blue, but it really isn't a darker blue. It just appears that way. But when we illustrate it, we also want to place just a little bit of emphasis that way. That way it looks a little bit more realistic. Again, you don't have to follow that fashion. If you want to keep it very graphic looking, you can just keep it as one solid blue. All right, I think I want to create a nice sun, radiating sunshine. That way my message of a beautiful, clean city is it's kind of felt a little bit more. So I'm going to create my sun. Let's place my sun on this side. So I create some yellow, and I have some radiating yellow lines. Now you would notice that my sun has changed color a little bit. I do want my lines to appear all the way through. Okay, let's add in a little bit of red to that. This is just going to help add some vibrancy. So I'm very lightly reshaping my sun using the color red, and I'm adding just a little bit of red in between those rays of sunshine. It's a good contrast. I'm not pressing as hard as I normally do with crayons, because I really just want it to be a nice soft look. With some yellow. And I do want my sunshine to kind of blend into some regular blue skies. Let's add in some clouds first before we add that in. Two clouds in the background. And the same technique with my blue sky. I'm just going to fill in with my broken crayon. Being very careful around my clouds. And now I'm just kind of using my arms and just kind of sweeping it very gently so that it almost looks like it's starting to blend into that yellow-red sun. So now my rays of sunshine look like they're just piercing the sky. Wonderful. All right, right about here, I want to create almost like a soil. Because this is some beautiful work that I did here, some great lines. And now it's just kind of sitting there. Okay, so that's my soil, and let's work on our tree. So if you have color pencils, use your color pencils. If you don't and you have crayons, use your crayons. I'm going to just go ahead and work with crayons. I do love enjoying working with crayons. So I'm just going to add in some brown for my tree. And if you have the color black, I love to do this with my crayons. So I do like to add in a little bit of black to my tree. And this helps create that form of your tree. And it also creates more of like a 3D look. And it tells you where you have darker areas of the tree. It really does help with the overall look of your tree. If this is something that you don't want to do and you just want to keep it just plain brown, that'll work as well. Adding some black now. Awesome. I think I'm going to stop there for a second. All right, and on this corner, I'm going to draw a little poodle. The poodle for me reminds me of cherry blossom. There are two poodles in Macon that represent the Cherry Blossom Festival, and they're actually called Cherry and Blossom. And so I'm just going to draw a little poodle down here, and then I'm going to use some of the notes that are Little Richie, who is an artist from Macon, just part of the lyrics from his song Lucille. And I'm just going to draw them over here, and that will help kind of synergize my pieces together. So let's draw our poodle, and our poodle has something like that. It's got a nose, she, I should say, not he, she. And she's got beautiful eyelashes. This is just my version of what she looks like, what Cherry looks like. And they dye her her fur pink, every cherry blossom. That's crazy, right? And she's got some beautiful long legs. And I think part of her leg is going to get cut off a little bit here. That's all right. Let's make this leg prop a little bit. There, I think that'll work. I'm going to use a smaller Sharpie marker for this one. And the larger Sharpie marker is going to take away too much of my details. Again, you don't have to have a poodle on this part of your page. If you want and you choose to do something else, that would work as well. Remember, this design should be your design, not Miss Q's design. I'm just helping you formulate some ideas. And another part of Cherry Blossom Festival that I do enjoy are the actual cherry blossoms. So I'm going to create some cherry blossoms sort of like behind the state of Georgia. And then I'm going to just kind of let it just hang out this way. So since some of my cherry blossoms are going to be hidden, I'm just going to imagine that I can see my cherry blossom behind the state of Georgia. That's one cherry blossom, and I'm glad I didn't outline this line just yet. And then I'm going to do a smaller cherry blossom. Cherry blossom petals have almost like a heart shape appearance. Add one more here. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and outline my cherry blossoms. And with any outline, you always want to make sure you have all those extra pencil marks erased before you start applying color. It's very difficult to take away color once you've started applying color. It's very difficult to take away pencil lines. And in my cherry blossom, I do have some circles, and they all kind of come back towards the middle. Not quite seen on that one. All right. And I'm going to add this is one of my branches from my cherry blossom. It's going to appear to disappear a little bit there. I'm going to add one more cherry blossom here. 1, 2, 3. And I was just going to connect that way. And these leaves are just going to disappear off the page. All right, let's go ahead and add some color to my cherry blossom. I like to use a mixture of red and pink and white. That's my red. And towards the middle, I'm going to add some pink. Let's do this one as well. Some pinks. And I like to use my white. My white I actually use as what we call a blending tool. And this kind of, it makes it look like it smudges the red and the pink. But what it really does is it kind of blends the two of them together. So you end up with a nice soft area, especially when you are illustrating cherry blossoms or flowers even. It really helps create that very soft, delicate look that your petals are made up of. The same can be done with the crayon. You just need to use a white crayon. And then the white crayon can be used as a blending tool. It just really helps blend all that color in. Really helps with the added texture as well. Okay, we got one more cherry blossom down here. And since you already know how to add a beautiful mixture of brown and black with your trees, the same can be done with the branch. If you have color pencils and you would like to use color pencils for this, feel very free to go ahead and do so. If you don't and you have crayons, then you can absolutely use crayons as well. Again, you're going to use black for the darker areas, and then you use white as a blending tool. And our leaves need a little bit of color too. Let's go ahead and, we need to add our, let's go ahead and clean up our poodle. And since our poodle is a pink poodle, I'm going to go ahead and use the color pink. And I'm using the same rule of thumb that I just used for my cherry blossoms. So I am not going to color the entire thing pink. I'm just going to color the edges, and then I'm going to use white as my blending tool and soften some of that pink as I go towards the inside of my poodle. So she doesn't appear just to be a full-on pink. So she has some nice light areas and dark areas of pink. Make her nose just a little bit darker, and also darken her collar. Awesome. All right, and on my music sheet, I usually have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines. So I'm going to go ahead and add in 5 parallel curved lines. And it's not going to be the entire way through, it's just going to be part of my illustration. 2, 3, and these lines are just going to help me create that sense of balance in my artwork. I really want that beautiful flow. So I'm going to draw in my notes that come in here. So this one is going to go this way. I'll come in and outline in a second. Okay. All right, and I'm just going to go ahead and add in these lines. I'm just going to outline them so you can see them a lot better, a lot clearer. One line. Two lines. 3 lines. 4. And 5. Of course, there's a lot more notes that are in here. I'm going to add in a couple more extra notes. Won't be able to complete the entire thing, but I'll just add in a couple of extra notes that are in there. Now, this is optional. I'm just going to clean this up. If you want to add in a message and the message that says Clean Streets Matter, you can totally do that instead of adding in the musical notes. I'm going to go ahead and add my message in, and it's going to go somewhere around here. Let's go ahead and add my pencil first. I'm going to make sure that everything fits. I'm going to go ahead and add in my message, and my message says Clean Streets Matter, and I'm actually going to put it in right about here, working in pencil first so that I know all my letters fit. Awesome. And I'm going to go ahead and outline this. I also want to keep making bib beautiful, and I think I'm going to put it this way right inside my state of Georgia, and it kind of hugs my heart. This looks like a smiley face. That smiley face is my line that I'm going to do my words in, so that way I can keep my shape consistent. And I don't run out of room. I will erase that line afterwards. Awesome, it fits. So I'm going to outline. And I'm going to erase all my pencils, my unwanted pencil lines that I've now left with. I think I'm going to use my blue crayon again, just so that at the bottom, so I can add a little bit more color so it's not plain white. This is just going to help close my image. Of course, you don't have to do the exact same colors. You don't have to do the exact same images. In fact, I really don't want you to use the exact same anything that what I did. But I do want you to stay consistent with your plan. Develop a brainstorming way to figure out. Develop a way, brainstorm your ideas first. Sometimes it helps to draw more than one sketch, unless you're comfortable, go ahead and draw. All right, so now I'm adding in some blue just to kind of tie in my picture, my beautiful drawing that I have done. I want to go ahead and just make it look uniform. And there we have it. This is my poster design and my poster submission for Clean Streets Matter. Keep making it beautiful. I'd love to see what you have done. That was so much fun. Remember, today's lesson was really inspired by an inventor called Anirudh Sharma, and he is 30 years old from India. In 2012, he invented an ink called AIR INK, and this was inspired by air pollution and separating carbon from emissions and mixing it with different oils and materials to create an ink, a sustainable ink that you can use to draw with. Artists that he has been associated with are Buff Monster, Christopher H., Di Dixon's. These murals have been beautifully drawn in places like London, Hong Kong, Singapore, Berlin, and New York. This guy is super awesome, amazing inventor. And don't forget, the poster design should come from you, your ideas. I can't wait to see these. Take care, friends.